All right, we're getting started. Get your people in here. Get one final message. 2, 1. We are recording. Welcome to our English partner training. My name is Abel Prieto, coming to you live from Miami, Florida. It is 3 p.m. over here in Miami. It's a little bit cloudy. It's partly cloudy, partly sunny, depending how you look at it, right? How do you look at it? Are you looking at it in a negative way, saying, "Oh, it's partly cloudy," or are you saying in a positive way? Actually, it's partly sunny. I like partly sunny. That's why I got my partly sunny shirt on today. One of my favorite shirts. It's a happy shirt, and I want to start today's webinar with a cool little video that I've used for years. That sometimes when I'm having a rough day, sometimes when I'm feeling a little bit down. I don't know if you guys have ever felt that. Maybe you guys just wake up every day and you're like super happy and life is great and it's sunny and beautiful. But sometimes I wake up and I'm a little down. I'm a little, maybe not feeling high energy. So one of the things that I do, which is one of the first tips I'm going to give you, is find yourself, a video or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 that can kind of take your mindset to the right level. So I want to share this video with you right now. And then we'll get started. All right. I am pumped. Who am I? I am a champion. Who am I? I am a champion. I love it. I love it. Man, let me tell you, I get a little emotional from that message, because I remember, there were times in my business where, things weren't going great. And I needed to inspire myself. I needed to motivate myself. And I use things like that to draw that passion from within, right? Because sometimes we forget why we're doing the things that we're doing. We forget why we pay the price. We forget, why we fight, why we keep pushing forward. So I want you to know that I'm here with you today with a message of hope, with a message to remind you that you are a champion, and that I want you to know that those of us who have achieved certain levels of success, those of us who have achieved certain things in our lives, maybe I've been able to achieve things that you haven't been able to achieve yet in cruises, but I want you to know that we struggle, we've gone through it, We talk about we've gone through the storm, but through going through the storm, we became the storm. We became the storm. I'm the guy that comes knocking at the door. I'm the one that is going to be in your face. I'm the one that's going to, be giving it all I got. And I want to remind you of that today, because sometimes we need that reminder. I want to come to you today with a message of hope, a message of the future, a message to remind you of your mission, a message to remind you of your vision, of your dreams, of your aspirations, of your desires, and just to let you know that you gotta keep hoping. You gotta keep hoping. You gotta keep pushing forward. And I remember there were times where, in my business. It's funny because I talked to some people, especially some people from Europe. European and American values sometimes are, they're the same, but there are some differences. I'll talk to someone in one of my European teams, and they'll be like, "Oh, Abel, I'm struggling. I'm really going through a tough time." And I'm like, "Yeah, where are you?" "Oh, I'm in my cabin up in the mountains." I'm like, "You're in your cabin in the mountains? You mean you have your home and you have a second home? You own 2 homes. You have a cabin in the mountains, and you're chilling by the fireplace, and you're telling me you're struggling, man." The definition of struggling in Miami and struggling in Europe is a very different, definition. When I was broke, when I was struggling, I couldn't pay the rent. I couldn't pay my bills. They were shutting off the electricity. They were shutting off my water. I had to get to an appointment and I didn't have money to put gas in my car. I was struggling to find food to have lunch and dinner. I was struggling to go to McDonald's. So I want you to know that as bad as maybe you think you're going through something, there are people that are going through and have gone through worse. And you gotta keep hope alive. You gotta have faith in your dreams. You gotta have faith in your future. And I want you to know that all of us, whether you're a Jonathan Diaz, who's a board of directors, or whether you're an Antonio Martinez or George Torres, people that have built huge businesses that are making 6 figures a month at Incruises, they've all gone through it. They've all gone through it, and you're not always going to feel like it. Sometimes, today, I want to be honest with you. I woke up today and I wasn't feeling it, man. I knew I had to do this webinar. I had a 9 a.m. call that I had to get on. I had to strategize. I had to get back to some of the people in my team. I had to follow up with some people. And man, I don't know if any of you know what I'm talking about, but I woke up and man, I wasn't feeling it. I was like, man, what's wrong with me? Sometimes you just don't know. I don't know if it's chemical. I don't know if it's in the brain. I don't know if it's physical. I don't know if it's what I ate, or I don't know if it's, how I slept or the dreams that I have. But have you ever felt that way? Have you ever woken up and just not felt it? Sometimes I wake up and I wake up and I'm like, let's go, let's go. But sometimes I wake up and I'm like, man, what is wrong with me today? So I jumped in the shower. I'm like, maybe a shower is going to help me. And it kind of did. And I'm like, maybe I need some coffee. And I drank some coffee and it kind of helped me. And then right before the webinar, I started feeling a little bit better. And I'm like, man, I was going to put on a nice gray shirt that I had. And I'm like, you know what? No, I want to wear a happy shirt. So I put on my happy shirt. This is my happy shirt. It reminds me of travel and Mallorca and feeling good and traveling the world and having a good time and making beach money. And I started feeling a little bit better, And I'm like, man, let me look for that video that I have, and it's the I Am a Champion video, because I want to remind you that you are a champion. I want to remind you that you are a champion. You are a champion to yourself. You're a champion to your family. You're a champion to your dreams, your vision, your mission. You're a champion to your team. You got to remember that. And I want to remind you that you're not always going to feel like it, but the best thing you can do to get yourself feeling like it is to get yourself into action. Sometimes we have to force ourselves to feel good. And I share this personal story because I want you to know that I'm not different from you, man. I'm just like you. I'm a human being, and I've got doubts and I've got fears, and I wake up some days and I'm feeling great, and sometimes I wake up and I'm not feeling great. But I always remember one of the things that my mentors told me. One of the things that one of my mentors told me, his name is Guy Shashadi. He's a multimillionaire. He was my upline's upline. He was Frank Codina's upline in our prior business here in Miami. Guy Shashadi, he's a former football coach and teacher. And he started, network marketing part-time. He went full-time. Everyone told him he was crazy. And now he makes over $1 million a year in that business. And he says to me, he said to me one thing that really changed my perspective in my life. He said, Abel, success has nothing to do with how you feel, but everything to do with what you do when you don't feel like it. And I've realized that the difference between those that succeed and those that don't succeed is what they do when you hit that moment in your business, in your day, when you don't feel like it. What do? Do you just not do it? And then that leads to another day of not doing it. That leads to another day of not doing it. And now you're creating a habit of whenever you don't feel like it, you simply don't do it? Or do you force yourself to get active? Do you force yourself into action? Because action will determine your attitude. See, you're not always going to wake up with the greatest attitude. Maybe you're going to have a day like I did today. I just didn't wake up with that energy that I love to have to bring to you, to give you the best of me. And what did I do? I forced myself into action. And when you start moving forward, then you start feeling better. And then feeling better leads to more action. So I want you to know that if you've got those days, maybe you're having that day right now, maybe you had it yesterday, or maybe you'll have it tomorrow, that, it's going to be okay. You are a champion. You are a champion, man. You are a champion. And those of us who have achieved certain levels of success have gone through those same feelings, but you got to remember what Guy Shashadi said to me. He said, Abel, winning has nothing to do with how you feel, but everything to do with what you do when you don't feel like it. Understand that we all go through those moments, but it's those small daily decisions that will lead you into a life of either action or a life of no action, which will lead to more no action, which will get you further and further away from your dreams. Remember, everything you do on a daily basis will either get you closer to or further away from your dreams. But I want to give you a message of hope. First of all, I want you to remember that you are a champion. Second of all, I want you to remember that I too get those feelings. I'm not a superhero. I'm human. I'm just like you. But I want to tell you what I do. I'll watch an inspirational video. I'll listen to a good audio. I'll read a good book. I'll focus on my goals and my dreams, and I'll push myself to move forward. Sometimes you got to push yourself. That's okay. It's part of being alive. It's part of being in this imperfect world that we live in. It's part of you being a human being. So I want you to know that you are a champion. I want you to remember that no matter what you're going through, I want you to remember that you were born with everything you need to go get everything you want. Write that down. I was born with everything I need to go get everything I want. You were born with the ability to make a decision. You were born with that ability. God gave you that ability. You were born with the ability to focus. You were born with that ability. No one needed to give it to you. You were born with it. You were born with the ability to put yourself into action. You were born with that ability. Isn't it great to know that you were born a champion? You were born a champion. You were born with the ability to be positive, to choose positivity over negativity, to choose to focus on abundance and not scarcity. You were born with the ability to work and make your goals and your dreams come true. You are a champion. You were born with those abilities. What are the abilities? The ability to make a decision, the ability to focus, the ability to get yourself into action, the ability to be positive, the ability to work until you make your goals and your dreams come true. You were born with that ability. And I want to remind you today that you are a champion. And it's okay to feel a little bit down, but it's not okay to stay down. It's okay to feel a little bit negative, but it's not okay to stay negative. It's okay to have a bad thought or a bad moment, but it's not okay to stay that way because your team needs you and your family needs you. Did you know that InCruises spends millions and millions of dollars every month and every year on advertising? Well, guess what? You and I, we are that advertising. So how much of those millions of dollars do you want for you and your family? See, InCruises is willing to give it to you. InCruises is giving you millions of dollars to help advertise their business, your business. How much of that budget do you want for your business? So what do you got to do to advertise and to get a lot of that money? You got to grow your team, man. You got to grow your team. You got to grow your distribution channel. Coca-Cola sells a lot of Coca-Colas, not because they've got the greatest product in the world. I mean, if you ask me, I love Coke. I love Coca-Cola. I love Coke Zero. You know, I was into Coke. It's got a lot of sugar, so I went with Coke Zero. I love Coke, but it's not because they've got the greatest product in the world. There are healthier drinks out there. There are more nutritional drinks. There are better tasting drinks. Coca-Cola sells a lot of Coca-Cola because they've got a lot of distribution. You are literally 5 minutes away from buying a Coca-Cola pretty much anywhere you live in the world. So what you need to do to take advantage of that advertising budget that InCruises is investing in you, to take advantage of those millions of dollars, is you have to grow distribution. McDonald's isn't the number one restaurant in the world because they sell the best burger. Oh my God, I can tell you 10 other places that sell better burgers than McDonald's. There's Five Guys, there's Burger Five, there's a bunch of places. I can go to the Chili's right down the street Chili's has a better burger than McDonald's. McDonald's doesn't sell the most burgers and fries because they've got the best burgers, even though I do think they've got the best fries, but because they've got distribution. They've got distribution. So what do you got to do? You got to grow distribution. Every new person you bring into your business is the way that you grow distribution. Every new person is like a Coke machine. Every new person in your business is like a franchise, except the beauty of our business that makes us better than Coke and better than McDonald's, that number one, we've got a great product that's good for people. And number two, those distribution channels can create other distribution channels. See, when you open a McDonald's franchise, if you want to go ahead and have another franchise, you got to give them another $1 million. But if you have a Coca-Cola vending machine, I want you to really focus on this. I want you to realize the dream business that you and I have in our hands. If you've got a Coca-Cola vending machine, that vending machine cannot produce other vending machines. It increases. Every time you prospect someone, you give them a presentation, they decide to say yes to you, they decide to become a partner member with your business, you just created another distribution channel that can create other distribution channels. Isn't that awesome? So what do you got to focus on? You got to focus on growth. You got to focus on double-digit recruiting. You got to focus on getting to the point where every month in your business, 10 or more people are coming into your business. And when you do that for 12 months straight, I'm telling you, you are guaranteed success at InCruises. If you double-digit recruit, if you start positioning yourself, it starts with one, but one can lead to 4, that can lead to 7, that can lead to 10. And if you focus on double-digit recruiting efforts and you build a double-digit recruiting team, that'll turn into a triple-digit recruiting team, 100 or more every month. That'll turn to a quadruple recruiting team. That's what I got. I've got over 2,000 people joining my business, 2,000 distribution points, 2,000 Coke machines, 2,000 vending machines, 2,000 McDonald's franchises coming into my business every month that are out there developing other Coke machines, other vending machines, other McDonald's franchises. That's what I got. And to do that, you got to focus on growth. You got to focus on recruiting. You got to lead with your example. You got to get wide. You got to focus on double-digit growth. And you got to do this on a daily basis, whether you feel like it or not. The only difference, I'm telling you, man, the only difference I've seen between those that succeed in our business and those that don't is when they have those days where they don't feel like it, they do it anyway. And when they start doing it, they start feeling better, which leads them to doing more. If you're going to wait to feel good to be able to do your business, you're probably never going to grow. So focus on growing your business. Remember, it's either growing or it's dying. And double-digit recruiting is the name of the game. I want you to know, and I want you to remember that you are a champion. You are a champion. You are a champion. You know, a lot of people tell me, especially those that have been around for a while, they say that, this business is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And although that's true, and this business is a marathon, it doesn't happen overnight. Don't kid yourself. Don't fool yourself. See, every marathon requires the marathoner to go into little areas where they sprint. It could be towards the middle of the race. It could be towards the end of the race. But if those marathoners, which are in it for the long haul, because they're in a marathon, a long race, if they don't find moments in that race where they make a mental decision to sprint, they will not win the marathon. They might finish the marathon. I might talk to you 10 years from now and you're still in my webinars and you're still participating and you're still going to the meetings and you're still paying your membership, or maybe your membership free. You're in the marathon, you finished it, but you ain't going to win it. See, every now and then, That marathon requires you and me to sprint, to have a sprint within that marathon. There's a moment where that runner, you, because you are a champion, has to make a decision to increase your velocity. Because if you don't do it, you're going to lose the race. You're going to lose the marathon. So I want to encourage you to make that decision today, to sprint, to go towards double-digit recruiting, and then to duplicate that over the next 12 months, and then tell me what happens. I'm telling you, you're going to win the marathon if you do that. So what do you got to do to make sure that happens for you and your business? Number one, you got to keep the main thing, man. You got to keep the main thing. Don't complicate your business. Don't complicate the way you prospect. Listen, the key to prospecting is numbers. Go talk to a lot of people. I don't even care if you're saying exactly the right thing. Don't worry about it. You're going to figure out what to say the more you say it. You know how you find out, how you figure out how to sell? Go sell. The key, the main thing is you got to prioritize prospecting. You got to grow distribution. You got to go bring in more Coke machines. You got to build more McDonald's franchises that will build more Coke machines, that will create and develop more McDonald's franchises. You got to keep the main thing. Keep it simple. Don't complicate prospecting. The number one thing you got to do to prospect is prospect. You know what you know what the problem you have? And I'm not trying to tell you this to beat you up. I'm not telling you to beat you up. I'm not here to, if you got a job, you get beat up by your boss and your job enough. I'm just trying to give you some advice. You know what the number one problem that most of you have with prospecting? You don't do enough of it. And you're not consistent with it. You'll have a good prospecting day, then the next day you'll wake up, you don't really feel like it. And instead of remembering what Guy Shoshatti told me, which is winning has nothing to do with how you feel, but everything to do with what you do when you don't feel like it, you slow down. You were sprinting, but then you slow down. Why? Because you don't feel like it. Man, winning has nothing to do with that. The number one challenge that most of you have with prospecting is not what you're saying, is that you're not saying it to enough people consistently, daily. Until when? Until you get to the point where you have a business that pays you enough residual on a monthly basis where you're comfortable and you don't have to do it anymore. That's what it takes. Keep the main thing. The number one challenge that a lot of you have with presenting is not that you're a bad presenter. It's just that you're not giving enough presentations. The number one challenge that a lot of you have with closing is not that you're a bad closer. It's just that you're not attempting to close enough people. The number one challenge that a lot of you have with getting a new recruit off to a fast start and not dying is that you're not trying to get enough new recruits to a fast start. The number one challenge that you guys have with meetings and webinars and events is that you're not doing enough of them. Keep the main thing. And remember, for you to do that, there's only two things you can control in your business: your attitude and your activity. Your attitude and your activity. Those are the only two things that you can control in your business. Your attitude and your activity. Which one is more important? Activity, because you're not always going to have the great attitude. But when you force yourself into action and activity and you just do it, like Nike says, then your attitude starts to get better. I put a video on this out on social media just a few days ago. And great activity leads to a great attitude. Bad activity leads to a bad attitude. So what activity are we focused on? I told you already. Working the numbers, leading by example, getting wide, bringing new blood into your business, growing your distribution channel, growing your Coke machines, growing your McDonald's franchises. We are in the people business. All you need is more people. More people to do what? To listen to you, to your message. I told you the other day, stop talking to people who aren't listening to you. Start focusing on people that are listening to you. And if you work the numbers, then you're going to get the result. And finally, remember that to build a team, you got to always be positive. You can never show hurt. You got to smile more. You got to ask more questions. You got to talk less and put others in the spotlight. You have to become genuinely interested in your Coke machines. Yeah, because they're not Coke machines. They're people like you. And you got to remember that every time you talk to someone, you got to pretend there's a flashing sign on their chest that says, make me feel special. Because if you help enough people get what they want, you're going to get what you want. Finally, I want to ask you a question. How do you react to change? How do you react to adversity? Are you stuck in the past or are you future focused? Man, I'll tell you this. I do a lot of things wrong. But one thing I don't is get stuck in the past. I am a future focused, oriented person. I am always focused on where I want to go, on where I want to be. I'm going to make mistakes on my way there. I'm going to have off days. I'm going to have off moments, but I'm always focused on the future. And the best way to focus on the future is to control your present, is to control the way you react to adversity, is to control the way you react to negative people and negative events. And if you do that, you will live a great life. You will live a life of abundance. You know why? Because you are a champion. Say it with me. I am a champion. Say it with me. I can't hear you. I am a champion. Say it with me. I am a champion. Say it with me. Write it in the chat. Send me some fire emoji, some thumbs up. Say it with me. I am a champion. You are a champion. Never forget that. And remember that you were born with the ability. You were born with all the abilities required to live a great life. The ability to make a decision, the ability to focus, the ability to get yourself into action, the ability to be positive, the ability to work until you make all your goals and your dreams come true. So let's go act like champions today. Make a decision to act like a champion and start changing your life forever. I love you guys. Have a great day. Let's finish the month off strong. It is the 20th of the month. It's the 20th of August. You've got 10 days left to give it all you got. Go for your goals. Go become membership free. Go rank up. Go get closer to or go get double-digit recruiting. Focus on your business. Focus on distribution. Focus on growing those Coke machines. Focus on growing those franchises. And life is going to be great. Love you guys. Let's go. Let's go.